Friends of the media, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference of the Joint Prevention Control Mechanism of the State Council. President Xi stated, international pandemic has brought about imported risks. We must not slacken our efforts and make pragmatic and detailed refined efforts to prevent the imported risks. Premier Li Keqiang emphasized the importance of coordinated and targeted efforts to prevent the importation and exportation of the pandemic. Today we'll focus on law-based prevention and control of imported cases. We have with us DDG Song Yueqian from the GACC, Deputy Director General Yang Xinzhai from the Maritime Bureau of Ministry of Transportation, Deputy Director Sun Shaohua from the Operation Monitoring Center of CAAC, DG Liu Haitao from the Border Inspection Department of National Immigration Administration. They will share with you information on the prevention control efforts for imported cases. First, some updates on the epidemic. In the 24 hours on March the 22nd, according to reports from provinces, municipalities, Xinjiang Production and Construction Corp, new confirmed cases 39, new deaths 9, all were Hubei cases. New suspected cases 47. On the day, newly cured and discharged from hospitals 459, of medical observation 661, severe cases were reduced by 96. As of 24 o'clock of March the 22nd, according to reports from provinces, cities, and Xinjiang Production Construction Corp, remaining confirmed cases 5,120, including 1,749 severe cases. Cumulatively cured and discharged from hospitals 72,703, cumulative deaths 3,270. Cumulatively reported confirmed cases 81,093. Remaining suspected cases 136. Cumulatively traced close contacts 688,993. Those who are still under medical observation, 10,701. In Hubei province, there was no new confirmed case, no new suspected cases, no remaining suspected cases. Newly cured and discharged from hospitals, 447, including 434 from Wuhan. New deaths, 9, all in Wuhan. Remaining confirmed cases 4,768, including 4,700 in Wuhan, including 1,714 severe cases, among which 1,699 were from Wuhan. Cumulatively cured and discharged from hospitals 59,879, including 42,788 in Wuhan. Cumulative deaths 3,153, including 2,517 cases in Wuhan. Cumulatively confirmed cases 67,800, including 50,005 in Wuhan. In the 24 hours of March the 22nd, new reported imported confirmed cases 39, including 10 in Beijing, 10 in Shanghai, 6 in Fujian province, 6 in Guangdong province, 2 in Shandong, 2 in Gansu, 1 in Zhejiang, Henan, and Chongqing, respectively. As of 24 o'clock, March the 22nd, cumulatively reported imported confirmed cases 353. From Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, cumulatively reported confirmed cases 507, including 317 in Hong Kong SAR, 21 in Macau SAR, 169 cases in the Taiwan region. Since 23rd of January till today, it has been 2 months since the lockdown in Wuhan. After painstaking efforts for 5 consecutive days, there was no new confirmed cases, no new suspected cases remaining. Confirmed cases has been on continuous decline. But we should be keenly aware that 0 new confirmed case does not mean 0 risk. There are still possibility and risks of the occurrence of cases and even cluster cases. We are still faced with paramount tasks for prevention and control. With the pandemic spreading across the world, many countries require self-homestay quarantine. China will continue to step up our international collaboration in pandemic prevention control. Now we'd like to take questions from the floor. You may ask questions around today's topic, and please identify yourself before you address your question. Hands up, please, for the questions. Journalist from the second row on the right side, please. Thank you. With the Xinmin Evening News, according to the latest data from WHO, over 180 plus countries and regions have confirmed COVID-19 cases. To prevent the importation of the cases, what are the measures adopted by GACC? I'd like to ask DDG Song Yueqian to take the question. Friends of the media, good afternoon. In response to the escalating risks of imported cases, GACC has been firmly following the suggestions from President Xi Jinping. In accordance with the requirements from the Joint Task Force, we have prioritized the prevention of imported cases. We have adopted the following cases. First, stricter assessment and close following of international pandemic unfolding made our analysis on the risks based on dynamic analysis results. We focused on the priorities of ports of entry control. We've revised 6 editions of port of entry prevention and control measures. We've provided categorized guidance to ports of entry across the country. Second, we require all the inbound and outbound travelers to file health declarations. We've also developed APPs. Prior to entry into the country, they can already use the app to upload their information. Starting from the 7th of March, we use the 5th edition of Health Declaration Card. We've informed the inbound travelers of their obligation of their travel history. In case of hiding, they will be subject to the criminal laws and the inbound travelers law. Besides, we have also carried out 100% risk control on the inbound transportation vehicles, 100% of the onboard quarantine. We've also carried out strict disinfection of the inbound transportation vehicles to cut off transmission. For all the inbound travelers, we have followed the 3 screenings, 3 examinations, the check on the health declaration cards, the temperature checking, and the physical checkup. We have also conducted epidemiological screening, laboratory testing screening. We also have a one transfer policy for the confirmed cases, suspected cases, symptomatic inbound travelers, and those with a close contact will be transferred to relevant authorities. Fourth, we've deepened our coordinated collaboration under the leadership of the Joint Task Force of the State Council. We've been collaborating with other departments for information sharing and the transfer of personnel. Customs at all levels have stepped up their accountability, collaborated with local departments, and properly dealt with the information, ensured timeless connection and coordination with other departments.
Thank you. Let's continue on the left, on the fourth row. The lady reporter close to the aisle, please. With China Media Group, CCTV, we've noticed that there are some inbound travelers who hide their travel history, increasing the risk of the pandemic spread. And this has also increased the risk exposed by the air crews. So may I know what are the new measures in the airports for the inbound travelers? We will have Mr. Sun to answer the question. Thank you for your question. The capital airport previously has acted in accordance with the policy circulars issued by the 5 agencies involved, and now the capital airport has become the major battlefield against the pandemic spread. As one of the 5 key hubs for international traveling, every week the airport hosts more than 200 air flights flying to various countries in the world. So the airport in the capital city is faced with a lot of pressure. So with the approval from the State Council, the 5 government agencies jointly issued the policy circular identifying the 12 neighboring airports as the first entry point for the inbound airlines. So we are having this measure to improve the protection for both the travelers and the airports. And also, this has facilitated the customs clearance of the inbound travelers. Over the past 3 days, this measure has been implemented with a very smooth operation. There are 3 international flights, namely the air flights of Air China and Eastern Airlines, as well as another airline, have been rediverted for their first entry point. And then starting from today, all the inbound airlines or flights will be redirected to the 12 first point of entry, respectively. Now let's continue. On the right, on the 4th row. Thank you. With the Hong Kong Economic Herald, at the moment, the pandemic is spreading. The localities are watching very closely the latest development of the spread. And my question is for the National Bureau Administration of the Migrant Management. What are the measures adopted? We will have Mr. Liu to answer the question. Thank you for your question. The Bureau has fulfilled its role of migrant management, and we have strengthened big data sharing and coordination. We have strengthened the early warning measures, and before the passengers enter into the Chinese border, and the screening at the border, and also the post-entry screening and monitoring. With airlines who have flying routes with China, we have already implemented the data sharing, so we can get informed the travel information in real time and get ready for receiving the travelers. And also we can send the alerts to the relevant customs authorities immediately or in real time. Throughout the country, we've already set up on-site various specific channels and specific areas for passengers from the severely hit epidemic countries or regions. In particular, we focus on whether they have temporary or stay in the hard-hit countries or regions, and such key or target passengers will be transferred. The information will be transferred to the relevant authorities for further and close monitoring. Also, for every 1 hour, we share the real-time information to the relevant authorities and the communities. By doing so, we wish to realize full coverage of information sharing and the information disclosure. So we have already shared about 200,000 pieces of travelers' information, and over 100 suspicious cases have already been identified with such information sharing, representing 30% of the information shared. Let's continue. On the left, on the third row, the second lady reporter, please. Thank you. With China transportation news, it is stated that the World Maritime Organization has already issued the guideline for the seamen or the undersea traveling or transportation, the sea transportation. Please give us more details on that. Okay, Mr. Yang, please. Indeed, for foreign trade, over 90% of the goods were transported by sea. So the sea transportation is of critical importance to ensure the daily needs of the people and also the international security in transportation. It is of critical importance to protect the health and ensure the safety of the sailors working on these international sea transportation routes. That's why there have already been a guideline issued, and it was issued on March the 2nd this year, and the guideline is developed to guide the specific practices in the marine transportation. Then on March the 18th, the World Maritime Organization adopted China's guideline and released or circulated among the member states and the related international organizations. This guideline is then used as a guidance for the world transportation practices. This is also a way of sharing Chinese experience to deal with the pandemic or the challenges brought forward by the pandemic. I've briefly mentioned this guideline in previous occasions, and it is about the practices or measures adopted on the ships and the personal protection which can be adopted by the sailors. And also it is about the countermeasures against the potential spread of the pandemic on board, and also psychological support or counseling provided to the sailors, and also information sharing. So it has 7 components, and it is providing specific guidance concerning the pandemic countermeasures.
For more specific information, journalists are welcome to visit our official website. As we precisely prevent and control the imported cases, the guideline is recommended for international use. It will be conducive for the prevention and control of the importation and exportation of the disease through ports of entry along the waterway. Ministry of Transportation will further urge the implementation of control measures. For the international cruise liners docking in China, we will also recommend the use of the guideline. Thank you. Next question, please. Journalist from the 3rd row on the right side, please. Hong Kong China Review. Starting from today, all the destination to Beijing international airlines will select the first point of entry as Tianjin. These first point of entry cities and airports well prepared. I'd like to ask DDG Song Yueqian to take the question. Thank you for your question. The international flights destined to Beijing will have some of the first point of entry changed after the notice was issued. GACC has been guiding the different destination cities to make preparation. We made swift preparation. We reallocate staff to support the customs administration in these destinations: Tianjin, Shijiazhuang, Taiyuan,呼和浩特, and altogether 10 cities. Administration of customs have been under close communication, prepared for the inflow of passengers. We've also sent a technical experts panel to guide the localities to prepare their emergency plan, work out the proper procedures. We've also set up a video conferencing to provide the technical support for the disposal of some on-site issues. Third, we've emphasized the frontline safeguards, including the fields, the reserves, the laboratory testing capacity preparation. We've also trained some allocated staff to improve personal protection and the on-site disposal capacity. Up till now, 4 administrations of customs have carried out inbound traveler quarantine for 11 international flights. The 3 screening, 3 checks, and 1 transfer policy has been followed. For confirmed suspected cases and people with close contact history will be transferred to the joint task force at the local level after the customs checks. Thank you. Next question, please. Journalist from the 2nd row. With the China customs news, I also have a question related to the different cities designated as the first point of entry. Will these impact the international travelers who go through Beijing? How can they reschedule their routes? I'd like to ask DG Liu Haitao to answer the question. Thank you for your question. Approved by the State Council starting from 0 o'clock today, all the international flights destined to Beijing will have to select their first point of entry in 12 other designated cities. National Immigration Administration would like to remind the international travelers who want to go through Beijing to a third country please be reminded that you might have to reschedule your flights because the international flight will first land in the first point of entry. All the travelers will have to go through the customs quarantine before you can take the flight further to Beijing. So please make leeway for this time duration because the customs clearance and customs quarantine, customs procedures will all be done by the first point of entry, which is not Beijing. So please leave enough leeway time for your embarking on the next flight. For those international travelers who cannot go through Beijing for onward flights, please be reminded for our international travelers, please be cautious. If you use Beijing as the transit to go on to the third country, then you need to be reminded of this special arrangement. If you have to go through Beijing and embark onward flight to a third country, please remember you will have to leave this leeway time. Okay, next question, please. Thank you. With the China civil aviation news, recently 5 ministries and departments have issued 2 consecutive notices about the rescheduling of the first point of entry from Beijing to other 12 city airports. For these 12 city airports, what were the criteria of selecting them as the first point of entry? Will there be further changes in the future? I'd like to ask the Deputy Director Sun Shaohua from CAAC to take the question. Thank you for your question. The choice of the first point of entry must be an international airport which is capable to have the taking off and landing of international flights. The guarantee and the support of the international airport can host Airbus 330 and Boeing 777. It must have a good record. The facilities, the organizational capacity and the staff capacity must be up to standard. These airports should be equipped with the outlets and branches of international airlines. We also adhere to the convenience principle. International airliners can select their first point of entry from among the 12. The selected 12 are up to the standards mentioned above. Down the road, for the international flights destined to Beijing may also see further changes of their first point of entry as the epidemic unfolds. Thank you. Last 2 questions. Journalist from the 4th row on the left side, please. Thank you. With China.org, the pandemic is soaring in the international landscape. What are the procedures must be submitted by foreign nationals upon entry into China? If they refuse to cooperate, what will be further treatment? Well, this is a legal issue. It is also of common sense for inbound and outbound travels. According to our laws, foreign nationals, if they want to enter China, they have to show their passports and other international travel certificates. The visas issued by China's consulates or embassies and other travel permits, after the verification and the checks of the Immigration and Customs Authority, they can be allowed entry into China. With the pandemic soaring in other countries, National Immigration Authority requires foreign nationals who want to enter China must truthfully file in the host and the contact in China, the destination in China, where they will go through, and their personal contacts. information for those who do not have these certificates and who do not truthfully answer the inquiry by immigration customs staff, for those who do not truthfully fill in information and who do not follow the legal procedures, the immigration authority will refuse their entry according to law.
Last question. On the right, on the second row, the third lady reporter, please. Thank you. With the cover.cn. In previous press conferences, Ministry of Transportation mentioned that the international ships arriving at China on average delayed more than 50 and 7,000 sailors. So how about these international ship travelings? We will have Mr. Yang to answer the question. Thank you for your question. The epidemic containment on the seaways is also a very important task. And for the moment, our focus is on the international sailors. According to the current data, by the end of the month, there will be at the end of May, there will be about 10,000 Chinese sailors who are scheduled to be off board and take a break. So how can we ensure their safety and curb the potential spread caused by such international traveling? This has become our key task. We've already worked with the relevant agencies and developed some specific measures. One of them is that before they arrive at the destination or after they leave the departing port and travel on the sea, if it is longer than 14 days, then once they arrive at the seaport, and if they haven't been found any symptoms, then they will be allowed to enter into the border and be off the board. If they stay on the board for less than 14 days, and if they physical check haven't found any suspicious symptoms, they will also be allowed to be off board and take the break. However, they have to follow the local requirements, and they may need to be quarantined for observation to ensure the 14-day quarantine period. And later, for those sailors who need to be quarantined, then every day they are expected to report to the relevant authorities their health conditions or health status. After 14 days, they can depart for their home, or if they need to travel to their hometown, then they need to abide by the local requirements and take appropriate containment measures or prevention and control measures. And also, the agency responsible for their travelings are requested to report their whereabouts. And so these are the requirements for Chinese sailors who are entering into the board. For foreign sailors, our current arrangement is that if they happen to have the travel history within 14 days, then they will, in principle, they will not take the shift or take the break in China. Okay, thank you. So the topic for today's press conference is following the rules and the regulations and ensure the pandemic containment measures. And for tomorrow, we will have the topic as the medical treatment against the COVID-19, and we will have clinicians, both from Western medicine and TCM, to come up to our press conference and take questions. That's all for today. Thank you.